Hey everyone, welcome to the Deep Dive. I'm Liam.
And I'm Zoe.
We're your guides to knowledge nuggets, and today we're diving into something really cool, learning English.
But not just any way.
Right.
You're talking quick start learning, especially for you beginners out there. If you're thinking about learning English, but you're not sure where to start, well, this deep dive is for you.
For a long time, people actually thought speaking two languages was a bad thing.
Crazy, right?
Yeah, like it would mix you up, especially for kids.
It does sound a bit silly now, right? But the good news is we know so much more now. Research shows that learning languages is like a super vitamin for your brain. It's like a workout for your mind, keeps everything strong and healthy.
Okay, I like that. A brain workout. So what's actually happening up there when we speak more than one language?
Picture this in a bilingual brain. All languages, are active at the same time. It's like your brain is a super juggler, keeping all those languages in the air.
Whoa. So my brain is juggling English and Spanish all the time. No wonder I need a nap. Just kidding. But seriously, how does all that juggling help us?
That's the cool part, that constant effort of switching between languages. That's what gives your brain the workout. It's like lifting weights for your mind and just like physical exercise. This mental exercise makes your brain stronger and healthier.
So what are the benefits of this mental workout? What's the payoff?
Well, studies show that being bilingual can make you better at concentrating. It can boost your problem-solving skills and even improve your memory. It's like a brain power boost.
That sounds amazing. Sign me up. But I keep hearing about this thing called cognitive reserve. What's that all about?
Think of cognitive reserve as your brain's savings account for thinking abilities. It's like having extra brain power stored away for the future.
Okay, I like that analogy, a brain power savings account. How does being bilingual help build up that reserve?
Learning and using multiple languages makes your brain work harder. It has to be more flexible and adaptable. That constant stimulation is like making deposits into your cognitive reserve.
So the more languages you speak, the bigger your brain power savings account. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. And that robust cognitive reserve can protect your brain as you get older. Studies show that people who speak two languages tend to develop dementia later than those who speak only one. It's like having an extra layer of protection for your brain.
Wow, that's incredible. So the earlier we start learning a language, the better, right? We should get our kids learning languages ASAP.
Well, that's where things get even more interesting. It's true that learning a language as a child builds new pathways in the brain, but guess what?
What, tell me?
Learning a language later in life might have even greater benefits.
Wait, really? I thought it was easier to learn when you're a kid.
It is easier when you're a kid,
Yeah.
But think of it this way. When you learn a language as an adult, you're not just building new pathways, you're also changing your existing pathways and creating new connections. It's like rewiring your brain.
It's like a supercharged brain workout for adults.
Yeah, exactly. A 2023 study by Dr. Gullifer at the University of Edinburgh found that adults who learned a second language later in life actually had the strongest brain connectivity at rest. That means their brains were more active and efficient even when they weren't actively using the language.
That's amazing. So even if we didn't grow up speaking multiple languages, we can still reap the benefits. Our brains are always ready to learn.
Absolutely. And there's another fascinating thing about bilingualism. It affects how we think and how we feel.
Wait, really? I never thought about that.
It's true. There's evidence suggesting that we react more emotionally in our first language and more rationally in our second language. It's like our second language gives us a little bit of emotional distance.
That's so interesting. It's like having two different lenses to look at our emotions.
Exactly. It's like having an extra tool in your emotional toolbox.
So being bilingual isn't just about speaking two languages. It's about improving our brain power, protecting our brains as we age, and even changing how we experience emotions. It's like a superpower.
I totally agree. It's like unlocking hidden potential in our brains.
But let's get practical here. We know you're eager to start learning English, especially you beginners out there.
So where do we begin? It can feel overwhelming to learn a whole new language.
Yeah, it can.
But don't worry, we've got your back. The key is to start small and make it fun. Remember, we're talking about quick start learning.
So what are some fun and easy ways to start learning English, especially for someone who's brand new to the language?
One of the best things you can do is immerse yourself in the language. Even if you can't travel to an English-speaking country, you can create an English-speaking environment right at home.
Okay, how do we do that? Give us some quick start tips.
Well, think about surrounding yourself with the language. Listen to English music, watch movies and TV shows in English, read simple English books or articles. You can even change the language settings on your phone and computer to English.
So it's all about making English a part of our daily lives.
Exactly. The more you expose yourself to the language, the more your brain will start to absorb it. It's like learning by osmosis.
That sounds easy enough, but what about speaking? How can we practice speaking if we don't have anyone to talk to?
Don't worry, there are plenty of ways to practice speaking. Even if you're a beginner, you can find online language exchange partners, join English conversation groups, or even just talk to yourself in English.
Wait, talk to myself. Won't people think I'm crazy?
Not at all. Talking to yourself is actually a great way to practice your pronunciation and fluency, and you don't have to worry about making mistakes in front of anyone else.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a try. Any other quick start tips for beginners?
The most important thing is to be consistent. Even if you can only spare a few minutes each day, make it a habit to do something in English every day.
Consistency is key. Got anything else?
Yes, don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are a natural part of the learning process. They help you learn and grow.
So embrace the mistakes.
Yeah.
Got it. Any other words of wisdom?
Have fun. Learning English should be an enjoyable experience. Find ways to make it fun and engaging, and remember, every small step you take is a victory.
That's great advice. So we've covered a lot of ground in this first part of our deep dive. We've learned about the amazing benefits of being bilingual, and we've gotten some practical quick start tips for learning English. But don't go anywhere. We've got more exciting insights and tips coming up in part 2 of our deep dive. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're so glad you're still with us.
Me too. It's been fascinating so far.
So we've been talking about how learning English can be like a superpower for your brain.
Right. It's like leveling up your mental abilities.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And one of the most interesting aspects of bilingualism is how it affects our emotions.
You mentioned earlier that we might react differently depending on which language we're speaking.
That's right. It's like having two different emotional palettes, one for each language.
That's a cool way to think about it. So how does this emotional duality actually play out in real life?
Well, think about it. Our first language is the language of our childhood,
Yeah.
our family, our earliest memories.
Right. It's deeply connected to our personal history.
Exactly. And because of that deep connection, we tend to experience emotions more intensely in our first language. It's like our native language is wired to our emotional core.
That makes sense. So what about our second language?
When we use our second language, we tend to process emotions more rationally with a bit more distance.
So it's like our second language helps us to think more clearly about our feelings.
Exactly. It's like we can step back and analyze our emotions without all the emotional baggage.
Wow, that's pretty amazing. It's like having a built-in emotional regulator.
It really is. And this can be especially helpful in situations where strong emotions might cloud our judgment, like during a difficult conversation or when making a tough decision.
I can see how that would be super useful. It's like our second language gives us a superpower to navigate tricky emotional situations.
It's like having an extra tool in your emotional toolbox. And speaking of tools, let's get back to those practical tips for learning English, especially for beginners.
Right. We want to make sure you have everything you need to start your English-speaking adventure. One of the best ways to learn any language is through immersion.
Immersion, does that mean I have to move to an English-speaking country?
Not necessarily. While living in an English-speaking country can definitely accelerate your learning. You can create an immersive experience right where you are.
Okay, how do I do that? Give me some quick start tips.
It's all about surrounding yourself with the language as much as possible. Listen to English music and podcasts, watch movies and TV shows in English with subtitles, read simple English books or articles. You can even change the language settings on your phone and computer to English.
So it's like building an English-speaking bubble around myself.
Exactly. The more you expose yourself to the language, the more natural it will start to feel. And that exposure will help with all aspects of language learning, right? Vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation.
Absolutely. It's like giving your brain a constant workout in English. And the more you work it out, the stronger it gets.
I love that it's like training your brain to think in English, and don't underestimate the power of speaking practice, even if you're a beginner.
But what if I don't have anyone to practice with?
There are so many options these days. You can find online language exchange partners, join English conversation groups, or even just talk to yourself in English.
Right, talk to myself. Isn't that a little weird?
Not at all. It's actually a really effective way to practice your pronunciation and fluency, and you don't have to worry about making mistakes in front of anyone.
Okay, I'm willing to give it a try. What else can I do to improve my speaking?
Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Everyone makes mistakes when they're learning a new language.
That's easier said than done. I get nervous when I can't find the right words.
I understand. But remember that mistakes are a valuable part of the learning process. They help you identify areas where you need to improve.
So instead of getting frustrated, I should see mistakes as opportunities to learn.
Exactly. Embrace the stumbles and keep on practicing. The more you practice, the more confident you'll become.
Got it. Practice makes perfect.
Well, this is all fantastic advice. I'm feeling inspired to take my English to the next level.
That's great to hear. And remember, learning English is a journey, not a destination. It's all about enjoying the process, embracing the challenges, and celebrating every milestone along the way.
Exactly. And as you continue on your English learning adventure, keep in mind the amazing benefits we've discussed today. It's not just about adding another language to my repertoire, it's about expanding my cognitive horizons, enriching my emotional intelligence, and opening myself up to a whole new world of possibilities.
Beautifully said. And who knows, maybe you'll even discover hidden talents and passions you never knew you had.
Now, that's an exciting thought. Well, we've covered a lot of ground today, but before we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
I'm all ears.
Remember that learning English is an investment not just in your future, but in your present. It's a gift you give yourself away to enhance your life in countless ways. And as you continue to learn and grow, you'll find that the rewards extend far beyond fluency. They ripple out into all aspects of your life, enriching your relationships, broadening your perspectives, and empowering you to connect with the world in deeper and more meaningful ways.
Well said. And on that inspiring note, we'll take a short break and be back with the final part of our deep dive into the bilingual brain. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the deep dive. We're in the final stretch of our exploration of the bilingual brain.
It's been quite a journey, right?
Absolutely. We've uncovered so much about how learning a new language can change our brains and our lives.
It's truly amazing how something as simple as learning English can have such a profound impact.
And for those of you who are just starting out, I want to remind you that it's never too late to begin out. Your brain is ready and eager to learn, no matter your age or background.
And while taking those first steps might seem daunting, remember that every small effort counts. It's like planting a tiny seed with consistent care and attention. That seed will grow into a strong and beautiful tree.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
It's a great reminder that progress takes time and patience.
Exactly. And as you continue to learn and grow, remember to be kind to yourself. Learning a new language can be challenging. It's okay to make mistakes. In fact, mistakes are an essential part of the learning process. They help us identify areas where we need to improve, and they make us stronger learners in the long run. So don't let fear of making mistakes hold you back. Embrace those stumbles, learn from them, and keep moving forward. And above all, remember to have fun. Learning English should be an enjoyable experience, not a chore. Find ways to make it fun and engaging, whether it's through music, movies, podcasts, or connecting with other learners. And as you continue to explore the world of English, remember that you're not just expanding your vocabulary and grammar, you're also expanding your worldview, connecting with new cultures, and opening yourself up to a universe of possibilities. It's an incredible gift you give yourself.
Well said. Learning English is a journey of self-discovery, and the rewards are endless. So to all our listeners out there, keep those brains buzzing. Embrace the challenge and never stop learning. We'll see you next time on The Deep Dive.